In our side mount configuration, we want to make sure that our hose links and our hose routing is optimized. And one thing that we can do to help that hose routing is add an elbow or an angle adapter onto our necklace reg to prevent this hose from going out over our shoulder and prevent strain on the hose. Now we can do that on our short hose as well as our long hose, and that way we've got no hoses going off to the side, but it's especially important on our necklace regulator. And we have a couple of choices when we're looking at an angle adapter. We can go with a fixed angle adapter, which you can get at a couple of different angles, or a swivel. Now the downside of either of these things is we're adding extra O-rings, which are extra failure points. Now for most people that's an appropriate trade-off because we get more streamlined and optimized hose routing. The nice thing about swivels is they're totally variable. We can pick whatever angle that suits us best, and that's what our regulator will have. The downside is these have a lot more O-rings and they're really prone to failure. So you've got to keep on top of these to make sure that they're serviced and cleaned. Elbows, on the other hand, are fixed. They have extra O-rings, but they're way less complex than the swivel, and their chance of failure is lower than something like this. Elbows are going to be offered in the most common and the most useful configurations, typically 90 degrees or 70 degrees. And another consideration with elbows is we want to make sure that they're not going to impede the gas flow that we have. Adding this bend may impede the gas flow, and that's going to affect regulator performance. We might not be able to actually feel that regulator performance, but on benches and testing machines, that can be something that's seen. So there's some high flow angle adapters out there, and those have been tested to ensure that they don't impede the flow of gas, so they can still pass whatever CE or other testing that's they're benchmarking there. When it comes to internals, elbows are very simple. It's just a couple of blocks with an O-ring on the inside. This one's really dirty, but that's it. The O-ring sealing from here comes on the low pressure hose, and then these two O-rings are what seals the rest as that plugs into the second stage. The swivel is going to have a lot more components. So in the swivel, we have this inside O-ring, that outside O-ring. We've got an O-ring over here. And then this side is pretty much the same as the elbow. I prefer using fixed elbows over swivels. I think the value that these add offsets the additional failure point as far as hose routings go. And I don't think the same for swivels. I think these add too much of a failure point. I've seen lots and lots of these fail, and I'm not a big fan of swivels over elbows. If you're looking to streamline your kits, make sure that you're not adding elbows or swivels just because. So these aren't always the correct solution. Sometimes a different length hose is a better idea. And we don't want to be adding a bunch of failure points just because. Hopefully that helps give you a better understanding of elbows and swivels, and thank you for watching.